We are very excited that our guest today is Sam Deshauteurs, a featured dancer now specializing in lighting, design, and programming. Welcome, Sam. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sam, you were born in France, you lived in Guadeloupe, and later you came to the United States and moved to New York to dance with Alvin Ailey. What brought you to dance?
Well, that was easy. Let me tell you why. My mother, Lydia, was a ballerina with the Paris Opera back in the days. And my father is also like a renowned choreographer slash teacher back in France in the same exact time. When they both decided to retire, they decided to establish a dance compound base in the beautiful island of Guadeloupe in the Caribbean, which led to me growing up with this environment at my fingertips.
You are full of surprises. First of all, I had no idea that you were a dancer with Ailey, but even more so that your parents were both in the field as well. Oh my goodness gracious. So of course you would have become a dancer. So you danced with Ailey for many, many years, and then you transitioned to working with the company off stage in a technical role.
I always had that instinct to, whenever I go to a theater or I step into a new country, to look around and get familiar with my surroundings. My first instinct was always to look up and be like, wow, the lights that we had back in Germany are here again in Greece. And I developed like a friendship right away with the crew. I can name E.J. Corrigan, Calvin Hunt, to credit them for making me loving what they did back then as I was a dancer. And by listening, watching them work, sometimes showing up earlier than my call was for dancers to see what they did, I started to develop like an interest for what they had.
I have to say the crew has a whole nother world, and they are the greatest people too. I always, as a dancer, loved being with the crew as well. What made you choose the direction of going into lighting?
Well, it was an unfortunate one actually. I had a back injury, which took me off the stage for I want to say close to 4 months. And I started thinking and be like, what if I had to retransition to something? What would it be? And I gotta tell you, the same friends that were I was hanging out with at the bar or the restaurant, they were like, Sam, why don't you join us? And I didn't think twice. I was like, that would be the most obvious conversion from a dancer to the technical crew. Back then it was like over maybe like 40-year history of the company. Nobody has jumped ship from being a dancer to being on a technical crew. And I was like, bam, I'm gonna do it.
Wow, you broke the ice. You were ahead of the game.
And I think to this day I'm still the only one from that company. I don't know about the other major companies, but I do believe that it's really rare. I was very fortunate to have them have my back and actually welcome me like the way they did. It's not easy to do, but again, I was surrounded by the best in the business, and they actually made it happen for me. So again, whoever's watching, I'm very grateful.
It is a world to break into. I mean, it's a very, very exclusive world. Do you have any words of wisdom for dancers that want to break into another aspect of the field?
I've learned over the years that you gotta love it. It should not be going to work. It should be like being surrounded with great people, common gold. And when you see the spark in those kids' eyes, you know you did something right. So if you have that love for what you do, it should be easy. It should be easier, I should say. And on the more harsh part of that question is, don't be late and don't lie. That's, I was told that earlier and it made sense, and to this day it's still valid. Don't be late and don't lie.
That's good advice probably for anyone. What trends have you seen in dance from your kind of unique vantage point?
Can I go backwards? Like, what do I miss? It's more like a more pertinent question to me. I've seen trends go from conservative choreography to ballet, from jazz and stuff like that, and I see trends that are leaving us.
Do you think this is something that's happened because of this past year, or was it happening already before?
I think it's been happening for quite some years from what I'm seeing. Even during the times I was performing, I was watching videos and learning steps from back in the 70s, like watching Gary Loach do the stack up. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I was hoping that would continue throughout the years. And as repertory start being archived and put up to the side, and they have new emerging choreographer, which is great, by the way. But I wish that they will always conserve, ballets throughout the years forever. Revelations from Alvin Ailey, that continues 60 years later. That's a perfect example that I wish everybody could see. Like I took my young daughters see Revelations for the first time, and I saw the sparks in their eyes, and I'm like, wow, that ballet was choreographed 58 years ago, and it still worked. That's the trends that I want to see keep going, instead of reinventing the wheels, and it's really hard to captivate an audience when you're experimenting, so to speak. But I think it can still work. But I personally, Sam, like to see the old stuff. It's so good.
Were you a performer in Revelations?
Oh, many times over. many times over.
It's so tried and true and established. It's a really groundwork.
It is a modern dance classic that's been studied by pretty much companies from all backgrounds have performed his work. Mr. Ailey's work has been such an iconic privilege for the dance world, and I cannot stress enough the impact that this man had, again, 60 years ago, on everybody.
Absolutely, and obviously still does.
And still does. The company's still kicking throughout dark times as well, which is remarkable.
Yeah, so speaking of which, this last year for dance and for art, but dance especially, has been devastating, and for the technical arts work combined. So how do you hope that we emerge from all of this?
A couple of things that were really interesting when COVID put the whole world to a halt, obviously including the dance world and performing. That's what we had to shut down first, and possibly be the last one to be open fully. What I observed on my artistic side or dancing side of it was to witness the resilience of dancers because of their itch to move, to keep moving. Yes, we can't perform, but I'm still gonna get up and do a little plie or a little tendu, make a makeshift bar in my living room, and keep moving, which show like the resilience and what dancers are made of, and I think that's amazing. At the same time, the technology that we have today really help make people transition, be like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? I'm laid up from my company that I worked so hard to dance with, and now we can't even go into the studio. Well, that technology allowed people to get together virtually, and I think that's brilliant. Imagine if we had a COVID outbreak back in 2000, where Zoom was not a thing. How would you keep that internal clock, that discipline that you learn over those years? I think that COVID exposed the best of us and those who are really hungry to keep their talent thriving.
Wow, that was wonderful. Sam, it's such a pleasure to speak with you. So thank you so much for speaking with us and sharing your life and your thoughts with us. It's been great.
Thank you.